Hey guys, this video is kind of a thrown together video of a natural gas distribution construction project. I'm using it to kind of test my editing software and play around with this mic and see how things feel and look at the end. But as you can see here, I'm in my car and kind of just driving to the job site. I kind of put this here just to have a little filler so I could explain what I'm doing. Hey guys, so what we're walking up here is a piece of 2-inch pipe that was bored up until a property that we call a UTP, which is unable to push. And when they're unable to push a sewer line, we can't bore that property, so we open dig it to basically keep everybody safe. You know, we don't want to intersect that sewer line. Then maybe they come to Roto-Rooter it, rip the gas line, then it fills up the sewer system, possibly the houses. And here you can see where they've excavated all this trench. They usually would saw cut it, but instead of saw cutting, they use that jackhammer, what we call it, a hoe ram, that was attached to the end of that skid steer. Then they excavate it, they put plates down on all these driveways so the homeowners can get across the trench safely. As you can see, they have cones kind of indicating the side of the plate. Once they get the pipe, the wire, and the ditch tape all installed, they'll put down sand and gravel, and then they'll put down cold patch on top of that, which is kind of like an asphalt substitute, just something to compact and keep it nice and flush until we can get another contractor in to replace the hard surface. What you're looking at right here is a 2x2 high volume tapping tee. We tie it into the main and we tap it with a special tapper. And like the name, you know, it's a high volume tapping tee, so hopefully the hole's big enough that it gives enough volume where the customers cannot suck this line down and we start having feed issues, which, you know, doesn't happen very often, but it can. So now I'm starting to walk this bore path. If you look, all these little holes that you see that have sand in them, those are spots that we vac down. So basically we bring in a giant truck and it squirts water really fast. We suck up all the mud. That way we can see all the existing utilities. And once we can see those existing utilities, we can bore over them or under them, but we want to see them when we cross them because, you know, we don't want to risk damaging them. Also, if you notice, these driveways, they're not destroyed. There's no, like, serious damage. That's the one good thing about boring is, like, you know, you can't see it necessarily, but we got these things called a sawn or a locator, so we kind of know where it's at. But the best part is the damage prevention, so we don't have to do any kind of hard surface repairs. I mean, sometimes we do, but it's better to repair a small hole than it is an entire street. So what you're seeing when I'm walking up to this piece of pipe that's sticking out of the ground is what we call a catch-all. This is where they were aiming when they were shooting with that bore machine. Basically, the rods entered that hole. We hook up a piece of pipe to it, and we pull it, and it spins on a pipe trailer freely. Then we cut it, and we let it, basically, you'll see right here, I was kind of bending out of the hole. We'll just let it sit there until we come back and run the piece, go in parallel, and then connect these two. Okay, on this trench right here, this is the 8-inch trench. We planned on boring most of this, but we couldn't because there was too many UTPs. And as I said earlier, that's unable to push. So we open dug all of it. We had to saw cut all these driveways and dig out all the material, put the pipe in, backfill it. One of the big issues with open digging like this is compaction. So like in these driveways, obviously you don't want to pour fresh new concrete on dirt that's not been compacted right. And these guys don't like to use plate compactors very often. They'll just beat it with their buckets. So we always have issues where we're coming back and fixing things for customers. And you know, you can tell the hard surface, this stuff's not cheap. It's way cheaper to bore this than it is to open dig it. Okay, so what we're walking up on right here is a pretty high profile bore for what we do. This bore was 26 foot deep. It's 8-inch pipe. We had to dig out a pretty good sized chunk of that hill to get the angle right to use the bore machine we brought in. This is going underneath of a state road, so there's all kinds of rules and regulations. We had some UTP issues. We had to make sure that we got all the pipes located, and we cleared all that up, so we got the A-OK to bore. So right here, I'm showing you guys where we dug the hillside down to get the angle right for the bore machine. We drove it down that hill, shot into the hole where you see those trench boxes. Shot across the state highway and then over across the highway where you can see that dirt patch and then that trench going parallel with the highway. That is where we shot to. That was our catch hole. It was kind of this wasn't a very good shot. This thing was kind of hard, but we got it done. Here in a second, I'm going to walk down this valley and kind of show you the trench boxes. The hand movements I'm showing you there are me explaining in the actual video with the audio, but I can't put that on here for some reason. I'm kind of struggling with the editing. Okay, so I'm going to be walking down and showing you guys what's inside these trench boxes here in a second. They're full of water right now, but the trench box that is farthest away from me, that has the main going towards the gas station, there's a valve on it. That's existing. The one closest to us, that is the new main that we installed. We had to do Z-piling and all kinds of stuff to make this safe. The guys tied the ladder off. They used their O2 sensors and all that good stuff. So it was all legit. No sketchy stuff here, which is a good thing. It's better to be safe than, die for productivity, which I know a lot of companies, they kind of push, make as much money as you can as fast as possible. So right here, you can really see the existing and the one we just installed. The existing has the valve on it. The one we just installed does not have the valve. We put the new valve over by the Casey's gas station to make it easy, a little bit more accessible. It's not as deep over there. It's just a better spot, honestly. So right here, I'm just kind of walking up the excavation. I'm kind of spinning around, showing you guys the hole that we dug. At the top of this hill, I found a bore machine. I don't know whose it was, but it had a reamer on it, all that good stuff. So I kind of use it as an example just to show you guys. So when you're looking at this machine, you'll see those long, skinny metal things in that basket right there. Those are the rods. And then that big fat thing in the front, that's a reamer that's connected to the main rod, the steer rod. And it'll push that rod into the ground and it'll drop a new rod, screw it into the one that's already in the ground, and push another one. And it just keeps repeating that process for, I think, up to 500 feet per basket. I should also say that that reamer is not their steer bit, so they put the steer bit on to actually bore the bore shot, and then once they get to the catch hole, they'll take the steer bit off, put the reamer on, and then attach the pipe. The reamer is just there to make the hole bigger than the pipe, so the friction isn't as crazy, and you're not stretching pipe or accidentally snapping wire, that kind of thing. So right here, I'm just kind of showing you guys the trench box panels, the equipment that they were using. They had like a chain of excavators where they were moving the dirt from this hill. But these panels right here, they're all aluminum. You can see the pins, and those trench boxes are pretty modular. You can have a 4x6, a 6x4, 10x6. It just kind of depends on what you need. Yeah, so right here, I'm kind of showing you guys all the equipment. You can see the back of the mini excavator, then the 130. They had a pretty good size excavator out here moving that stuff. That 130 was the small one. Here you can see the spoil pile. We don't know what was here, but it was definitely an old building or something like that because there was so much asphalt and old concrete, like foundation type stuff, or maybe a basement. We're not sure, but there was a lot of it. And now we're to the random stuff. I'm kind of just throwing this in just so I can edit it in, kind of playing with the software. These are goats at my mom and dad's house. They're pretty cool. They're kind of, I just could not believe how fat they were. That's kind of why I was recording them. And right here we're walking up to a baby horse and its mom. Not the little black and white one. That's a pony. His name's Apache, and he's kind of not the nicest little pony. But the two tan ones down there, the little bitty one was just born. His name's Gus. He's pretty cool. They're all excited about it. All the kids are. And kind of gonna be cool to see him be raised from a baby. I don't think we've ever raised a baby horse. We've had horses all my life, but so right here, my dad's trying to calm the mom. He wants us to come pet the baby horse, but this mother is pretty protective of it. I think this is her third baby, but she's a draft horse. You can look at her and tell she's a pretty good sized horse. Like if she doesn't want you to pet that baby horse, you're not going to pet it. Here's where we start moving in, and I actually get to touch him for a minute, and you'll see me here in a second pull my girl back, trying to like get her away because the mom starts making noises and huffing. And a couple hours before we got there, she actually charged my sister, started beating her front hooves on the ground and running in circles around her. So here's just some random B-roll of the mom and the baby. But yeah, so that's the second channel of the video. Kind of just test some things out. Got a new mic. I don't know if it sounds good or not. Let me know. I'm super sick too. I don't know if you can tell by my voice, but my throat and breathing is not great right now. If you guys have any recommendations or critiques, let me know. I guess have a good one.